this is Flatflyer from the Adventures of Shadowpawn 3 and Flatflyer the Rock Pegasus. We are going to read the second part of the Dangerous Adventure. When we left off, Flatflyer and Shadowpawn were kidnapped by a mysterious person, but Flatflyer broke free and freed Shadowpawn. Unfortunately for Flatflyer, she was hit by exploding rubble and lost control of her flying and landed in the forest and was knocked out unconscious. When Shadowpawn returned to Ponyville, she thought Flatflyer was behind her, but to her and everyone, they confirmed Flatflyer dead. Then, a couple of days later, a bear attacked Ponyville, and there on the hill was Flatflyer, who defeated it by kicking her hind hooves into its jaw. And then everyone noticed that that wasn't the real Flatflyer, as she pushed aside Shadowpawn's hug and walked to her house, ignoring everyone. Let's continue with part 2. Shadowpawn stood there in disbelief that her own special pony pushed her love aside like some jerk. Shadowpawn barged into Flatflyer's room in a rather mad mood. "How dare you push my love aside for you? We all thought that you died in that explosion," Shadowpawn yelled as her eyes dilating. "How dare I? You know, if you happened to check behind you, I wouldn't have not been knocked out unconscious," Flatflyer yelled back. "And then you pushed me aside like some dirty pup on the street. You know what? Screw you, Flatflyer. I'm done with you," Shadowpawn said, walking away and out of Flatflyer's house. Unknown to everyone, the Flatflyer that was in Ponyville wasn't the real Flatflyer. The real Flatflyer was still knocked out on the hill. When she awoke, she felt brand new, and she took off and headed towards Ponyville. When she arrived, everyone gasped as she took off her orange sunglasses, and she said, "What's every pony gasping for? I'm not dead. Just have a bad wing, that's all. I'm glad to be alive," Flatflyer said, walking to the crowd, and she saw Shadowpawn. Shadowpawn looked away, and Flatflyer stopped and looked at Shadow. "Shadow, I know you got a lot of feelings going through your head, but can you at least tell me what the hey is going on?" Flatflyer said. "Screw you. You're no need for me is no longer need, and don't talk to me for the rest of your life," Shadowpawn said, walking away as Flatflyer stood there in disbelief. Flatflyer sat at the tree, laying her head down on top of her hooves, talking to herself. What is going on? Why is Shadow mad at me? All I want is answers." "Of course you do. And you will get them, Flatflyer," as the other Flatflyer walked up to her in her blue sunglasses. "What the hey are you?" Flatflyer said. "Oh, you? I'm simply a clone. You see, before you woke up, I simply made a clone of you, but put it in my body, so now I am free to be alive into this best pony's body. I'm going to ruin your life and your reputation like you did to me," Flatflyer number 2 said. "And what did I do to you?" Flatflyer said. "You made me get last place in the first ever music competition in all of Equestria. After finding you, I finally get my revenge for you, making me get last place," Flatflyer number 2 said. "Oh my god, Lena, please don't. Sometimes we lose competitions and sometimes we get lucky and win, but we don't go out and doing this because we lose," Flatflyer said. "Shut up! I'm in this body. I plan on ruining your whole career like you did to mine," Lena said as she walked away, laughing evilly. Flatflyer raced to Shadowpawn's house and flew her to her room, breaking her window. "Oh, it's you. I made it clear not to talk to me. Now please leave before I have to force you out," Shadowpawn said. "Please, Shadow. Please hear me out for the sake of our love," Flatflyer said. "Okay, but before I do, I'll put you through a test to make sure you're the real Flatflyer," Shadowpawn said. "This isn't a time for 20 questions, hon. Please just hear me out," Flatflyer said. "Guess I'll have to force you out, Shadowpawn said. "We met at the one oak tree by the Everfree Forest. We had a crush on each other, and our parents don't know that we're in love with each other. We like the chocolate and vanilla cupcakes Pinkie Pie makes. Your favorite book is Daring Do Volume 1. Your favorite thing about me is my personality," Flatflyer said. Flatflyer said, "Wow, you are the real Flatflyer. Baby, I'm so sorry for being a jerk to you," Shadowpawn said, jumping off her bed and hugging Flatflyer. "Oh, it's nothing, Sugar Cube. I forgive you. Now can you tell me what's happening?" Flyfire said, hugging Shadowpawn back. Of course. Please tell me everything. Shadowpawn said as she sat back on her bed. Well, before we woke up on the temple, my rival from music school, Lena, made a clone of me, and now she's going to ruin my life and my music career because I made her get last place in the very first competition of all of Equestria, when clearly I didn't, and I tried talking her out, but she's clearly not going to, Flamefire said to Shadowpawn. But the citizens of Ponyville still can't tell which one is which, so I think it's time. I think to prove which Flamefire is real, we'll have a music battle at the Canterlot. Shadowpawn said. Great idea, baby. Go spread the word. I'll get my base and I'll meet you there. Flamefire said she flew out of Shadowpawn's open window. Shadowpawn went all over Ponyville, spreading the word of the music battle in Canterlot, and then the news reached Canterlot as Flamefire flew in Octavia's room. Flamefire, what a surprise. What brings you here? Octavia said. Listen, do you remember Lena? Flamefire said. Who doesn't? She was such a show-off. Think Pony's sake you defeated her in that music competition. And she's done for good, Octavia said. That's the bad part. She made a clone of me, and she is me, but folks don't know which is which. So we're having a music battle tonight to prove which Flamefire is real, Flamefire said. And what's this got to do with me? Octavia said. I need you to perform with me for old time's sake, Flamefire said, begging. To prove you're real? Yes. And also I need to get some payback on that slime ball for ruining my life one time. I'll get my stuff. I'll meet you tonight, Flamefire, Octavia said. Oh, thank you, sis. I owe you, Flamefire said, flying out, and flew to her stage and grabbed her bass and amp. That night, among thousands of ponies gathered on the stage area and behind stage, they announced Lena going first, and Flamefire laughed. Ha! Take your time, number 2. I'll defeat you like last time, and then ruin everything again. Oh, just keep dreaming. Me? Alright, let me start that over. Oh, just keep dreaming me. I'll be on top, and you'll be on bottom, like you should be right now, Lena said, and as she walked out, as her name was called, as Flamefire looked at Octavia, we got this, sis. Just like old times, she said. Yes, Octavia said. Throughout her songs played, the people were cheering, but Flamefire had an extra plan up her hood. Once the last song was played, which the people didn't like, she walked off, and then Lena got hit by Vinyl's bass can, and Lena flew and fell on top of the front part of the stage as Flamefire walked out with Octavia, and the crowd gasped. Hello, every pony. I am the real Flamefire. This phony here is no other than Lena, the last place pony in the first ever music competition placed here in Equestria, which now she went off and whined and acted like a spoiled sport, and she made a clone of me, which everything was perfect except for one thing. I wear orange sunglasses, not blue, Flamefire said. Every pony was surprised and started cheering to Flamefire. Later that night, Flamefire came out and played What I Believe by Skillet, and every pony cheered as everyone was glad that the real Flamefire was here, and not some phony in her place. To be continued with the next adventure. Thank you for listening.